Ladies and gentlemen, as we step into 2025, the horizon is wide open before us. It's a new year, a fresh beginning, and for many of you, it's an opportunity to achieve the things you've been dreaming of, striving for, and hoping would one day come to pass. And I stand before you today to tell you that you can achieve anything. The power of your belief is the most important factor in achieving anything in life. Everything starts with belief. You cannot achieve something if you don't first believe it's possible. I've learned this lesson the hard way. There was a time in my life when I doubted myself, when I wasn't sure I could make it. I remember thinking, why should I succeed when others have failed? What makes me any different? But I had to get over that mindset. I had to change the way I thought. One of the most important things I've realized is that belief isn't just about hoping things will happen. It's not about wishful thinking or waiting for something to come along and change your life. Belief is a deep inner knowing that you are capable. It's the recognition that within you lies the power to create, to grow, and to achieve your goals. When I first started out, I didn't have everything figured out. I didn't have all the answers, and there were plenty of obstacles. But what I did have was belief. I believed that if I put in the work, if I stayed focused, and if I kept pushing forward, success would follow. I want you to think about your own life. Do you believe in yourself, not just on the surface, not just when things are going well, but do you have a deep-seated, unwavering belief in your ability to overcome the challenges, reach the heights, and achieve the goals you've set for yourself? If you don't, it's time to shift that mindset. You need to understand that belief isn't just something you feel when things are going your way. It's something you build day by day, action by action, through the choices you make. Think of all the people you admire, the ones who've achieved great things in their lives. Whether it's in business, athletics, or any other field, these individuals share one thing in common. They believed in themselves when no one else did. They faced doubt, fear, and challenges just like you will, but they didn't allow those things to define them. Instead, they used their belief as fuel to keep going. They told themselves, I can do this, even when it didn't seem possible. What I want you to realize is that you have that same power within you. Belief is not reserved for the select few. It's available to anyone willing to cultivate it. It starts in your mind, in the way you think, and it grows with every step you take. When you believe in yourself, you're telling the world, I am ready for what's coming. You're preparing your mind and spirit for success, and success will find you when you... Here's something I want you to remember. Belief creates momentum. When you believe in yourself, you naturally begin to take action. And when you take action, you start to see progress. That progress fuels your belief even more, and the cycle continues. The more you believe, the more you do, and the more you do, the more you achieve. But it all begins with the belief that you can. There will be times when the road seems long, when obstacles feel insurmountable, and when you wonder if it's all worth it. In those moments, it's easy to lose sight of your belief. But remember, belief doesn't come from external circumstances. It comes from within. It's a decision you make every day. When you're tempted to quit, when you feel like giving up, that's when your belief matters most. It's in those moments that belief becomes your anchor. It's the thing that keeps you going, even when everything else says stop. The power of belief is transformative. It changes how you see the world, how you approach challenges, and how you view yourself. And when you truly believe in yourself, you start to see the possibilities, not the limitations. You begin to understand that nothing is impossible. Whatever it is you want to achieve, no matter how big or small, it begins with your belief. So I challenge you today, start believing in yourself. Stop waiting for others to validate you. Stop looking for external proof that you're capable. Believe in your own potential, and know that when you do, the world will open up in ways you never thought possible. Your belief will take you further than you ever imagined. It's the first step toward achieving, and once you truly believe, nothing can stand in your way. Clarity and focus are two of the most critical components in achieving anything significant in life. I've seen so many people struggle not because they aren't capable, but because they lack clear direction. I'll tell you from experience, if you don't know where you're headed, it's almost impossible to get there. I've been there, standing at a crossroads, unsure of which direction to take. I remember feeling overwhelmed by the sheer number of options in front of me. Each path seemed promising, yet I wasn't sure which one was the right one. And I'll tell you this, when you're unsure about your destination, you'll waste a lot of time, energy, and effort on paths that don't lead you where you want to go. The first step to achieving anything is having a clear vision of what you want. If you can't visualize where you want to end up, how can you possibly know the steps to take to get there? Imagine driving a car on a road trip without a map or GPS. No matter how fast you drive, you'll only get lost, confused, and frustrated because you don't know the destination. Your dreams are like that. If you don't have a crystal clear picture of where you want to go, you'll end up wandering aimlessly, hoping to find your way by chance. But it doesn't work like that. Clarity allows you to define your goals and priorities. When I first decided to change the course of my life, I realized that I had to narrow my focus. I couldn't chase every opportunity that came my way. I had to choose a specific path. The clearer I became about what I wanted, the more my energy and efforts began to align. Clarity doesn't just help you identify your destination. It helps you eliminate distractions. You see, distractions are everywhere. There's always something that tries to pull you away from your purpose. But when you are clear about what you want, you naturally start to filter out the noise. You begin saying no to things that don't align with your vision. I'll tell you, it's not easy. There are moments when you will feel the pressure to take on everything. There will be people who tell you to follow different paths, to go after other opportunities, but you have to have the courage to stay focused on what you've decided is important. This is where focus comes in. Focus is the ability to hone in on one thing and give it your full attention. I know it sounds simple, but the truth is that staying focused is one of the hardest things you will ever do. In a world full of distractions, it takes great discipline to stick with a single goal and give it all you've got. In my own journey, I've had to learn the importance of saying no. I've had to learn that I can't do everything, and neither can you. The most successful people in the world are not the ones who do the most, but the ones who do the right things. When you gain clarity about your goals, it becomes easier to focus on the things that truly matter. You stop getting sidetracked by opportunities that sound good, but aren't aligned with your purpose. Instead, you keep your eyes fixed on the prize, and every step you take moves you closer to your vision. Think about it for a second. How often do we lose focus? We get distracted by social media, by the opinions of others, by the pressures of life. We start off with big dreams, but then we get overwhelmed by the chaos around us. It's easy to lose sight of what really matters, but when you have clarity, when you know exactly what you're working toward, you become unstoppable. I want you to think about a time when you achieved something significant in your life. Was it because you were trying to do everything at once? Or was it because you narrowed your focus and committed yourself to a single goal? When you focus on that one thing, you begin to master it. You learn everything you can. You refine your approach, and you put in the hours needed to truly succeed. And as you do that, you gain momentum. Clarity and focus give you the momentum to move forward even when things get tough. And the truth is, without clarity and focus, success will always feel like an uphill battle. But with those two things in place, you will find that the path becomes smoother, the obstacles seem smaller, and your results come faster. It's like driving with the wind in your back instead of pushing against it. Clarity and focus also help you measure progress. When you're clear on what you're trying to achieve, you can easily see where you're making progress and where you need to adjust. It's like checking your map while you're on a road trip. You can tell how far you've come, and you can make any necessary detours along the way to stay on course. Progress becomes visible. Without clarity, progress feels elusive. So I challenge you today, get clear on what you want. Take time to define your vision and set goals that align with that vision. Once you have that clarity, narrow your focus, eliminate distractions, stay committed, and give it everything you've got. The world will begin to move out of your way, and your goals will start to unfold in ways you never imagined. The key to achieving anything is simple: clarity and focus. And once you master those, the sky is the limit. Taking action is the pivotal step in achieving anything meaningful in life. There's an old saying, you can't steer a parked car. And it's so true. As much as you can plan, dream, and set goals, none of it matters until you take that first step. I know this from experience. I've worked with countless people who have incredible ideas, vision, and potential, but they get stuck in the planning phase. They are waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect circumstances. The problem is that moment will never come. The perfect plan is a myth, and the perfect conditions don't exist. The only perfect time is now. When I first started my journey, I didn't have all the answers. I didn't know exactly how things would unfold, but I made the decision to take action anyway. At the time, I didn't have all the resources I needed. I didn't have a massive team behind me. I didn't even have a clear roadmap laid out in front of me, but I had one thing: the willingness to act. I had the determination to show up every single day, even when I didn't have the full picture. And you know what? As I took each small step forward, things began to fall into place. Opportunities started to open up. Doors began to swing wide, and the answers I needed showed up in the most unexpected ways. But none of that would have happened if I hadn't taken that initial action. You have to start somewhere. Even if the path seems unclear, even if the fear feels overwhelming, action is the key that unlocks your potential. Don't wait for everything to be perfect. Don't wait until the timing feels just right. If you keep waiting, you'll end up missing out on the journey altogether. I've learned that success doesn't come from waiting for the stars to align. Success comes from doing. Success comes from showing up, putting in the work, and making progress, even if it's just one step at a time. It's easy to get paralyzed by fear, especially when you're embarking on something new or unfamiliar. I've been there. The fear of failure, the fear of making mistakes, and the fear of not being good enough, it can all feel so real. But here's what I've learned: action overcomes fear. Every time you take a step forward, no matter how small, you chip away at that fear. It's like breaking down a wall, one brick at a time. When you don't act, fear grows. It festers in the shadows and makes everything seem more daunting. But when you take action, fear loses its power. The more you act, the less power fear has over you. This doesn't mean that action will always be easy, or that it will always lead to immediate success. There will be times when you make mistakes, when things don't go as planned, when you fail. But failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of success. Each failure, each misstep is a lesson in disguise. You're learning, growing, and refining your approach. When I look back at my own journey, I can see the countless times I failed. But what I also see is that each failure made me stronger. It taught me something new, something that I could apply to my next move. If I had let fear or doubt stop me from acting, I would have never experienced those lessons. I would have remained stuck in one place, dreaming about success, but never reaching it. Taking action also gives you momentum. Once you start moving, even if it's at a slow pace, the energy starts to build. You begin to see results. And those results fuel your belief. Momentum is a powerful thing. It creates a snowball effect. The more action you take, the easier it becomes to keep going. You begin to see that the impossible is possible, and that belief strengthens with every step. Momentum creates a cycle of growth and progress. And once you experience that feeling of momentum, you'll never want to stop. Here's the thing: you will never feel 100% ready to take action. You'll never have all the information, and you'll never have all the answers, but you don't need them. The most successful people are the ones who take imperfect action. They don't wait for the perfect circumstances or the perfect plan. They take action, learn along the way, and adapt as they go. The truth is, you will never have all the answers until you start taking action. The answers don't come in a vacuum. They come through experience, through trial and error, through learning and growing. When I made the decision to start my own business, I didn't know exactly how it would work, what my first step would be, or what obstacles I would face. But I knew that doing something was better than doing nothing, and that's exactly what I did. I took action, I made phone calls, I reached out to people, I worked late into the night, I learned from my mistakes, and I kept going. That's how success happens. Not by waiting for things to be perfect, but by diving in, giving it your best shot, and adjusting as you go. You don't need to have it all figured out right now. You just need to take that first step. Action leads to clarity. Every time you take action, you move closer to your goal, and you learn something that will guide you forward. So stop waiting. Stop letting fear hold you back. Take action today, even if it's just a small step. It's the only way you'll ever get closer to achieving your dreams. Every step you take brings you one step closer to the life you've always wanted. And let me tell you, the journey is worth it. The power of consistency cannot be overstated when it comes to achieving anything of significance in life. I can tell you from my own experience and from watching countless others that it's not the big bursts of energy or sudden flashes of brilliance that lead to lasting success. It's the steady, relentless pursuit of your goal day after day without giving up. Consistency is what separates those who achieve greatness from those who fall short. It's the difference between those who start strong but burn out and those who keep going even when the road gets tough. I've seen people come into the game with a ton of enthusiasm, bursting with excitement about their goals, ready to change their lives. But what happens is that the initial excitement fades, the obstacles start to come, the setbacks start to pile up, and the passion that once burned bright starts to dim. That's when most people give up. But the ones who achieve extraordinary things, the ones who change the course of their lives, are the ones who keep going when the excitement wears off. They don't let the circumstances dictate their progress. They don't let the challenges stop them. Instead, they show up every single day, even when they don't feel like it, and they keep moving forward. When I first set out on my journey, I faced a lot of challenges. I wasn't born into wealth. I didn't have connections, and I certainly didn't have all the answers. But I knew one thing. If I kept showing up every day, eventually I'd make progress. There were days when I felt like giving up. There were days when things didn't seem to be working, when I wondered if I was wasting my time. But I learned that consistency is not about doing everything perfectly. It's about making sure you keep taking action, no matter how small, no matter how difficult. It's about building momentum and letting that momentum carry you even when you don't feel like you're making progress. Think about anything you've ever accomplished in your life. Chances are the times you've seen the most success came after a period of steady, consistent effort. It wasn't the one-time effort that did it. It was the hours, days, and weeks of doing the right thing over and over again. You have to train yourself to show up, even when the excitement fades. You have to develop the discipline to do the work, even when it feels like no one is watching, even when the results aren't immediately visible. One of the biggest mistakes I see people make is expecting immediate results. They want success to come fast, and when it doesn't, they lose heart and quit. But real success takes time. It's a process, and it doesn't happen overnight. The most successful people in the world didn't get to where they are by making a few big moves here and there. They got there through consistent, incremental progress. They put in the work day in and day out, even when no one was watching. They didn't expect overnight success. They understood that great things take time, and they kept showing up, knowing that their hard work would pay off eventually. I've worked with people who have incredible potential, but they struggle with consistency. They start strong, but then they get distracted, discouraged, or overwhelmed by setbacks. And that's where most people fail. They stop showing up. But let me tell you something. Even the smallest consistent effort adds up over time. You don't have to make huge leaps every day. Some days it's okay to take small steps. But the important thing is that you keep moving forward. The power of consistency is that it compounds. When you look back a year from now, 5 years from now, or 10 years from now, you will realize that the consistent effort you put in day after day has led to incredible growth. Consistency also helps you develop resilience. There will be times when you feel like throwing in the towel. There will be moments when the obstacles seem too great, when the challenges feel too overwhelming. But if you are consistent, you learn to push through those moments. You develop the mental toughness to keep going even when things aren't going your way. Consistency builds your strength, your determination, and your ability to endure. Every time you push through the tough days and keep moving forward, you grow stronger, and that strength becomes the foundation for your success. Remember, success isn't always about making the big dramatic changes. It's about small, consistent actions that build up over time. And these actions aren't just physical. They are mental and emotional as well. Consistency is about showing up, not just in your actions, but also in your mindset. It's about continually choosing to believe in your dreams, even when the world tells you to give up. It's about choosing to keep going when everything around you says stop. So I challenge you today, commit to being consistent. No matter what your goals are, no matter how far off they seem, show up every day, take action, even if it's a small step. Do something every day that brings you closer to your vision. It doesn't matter if things are going well or if you're facing challenges, keep moving forward. Keep doing the work day after day. Eventually you will see that all your consistent effort has led you to places you never imagined. The journey isn't always easy, but the rewards are worth it. Keep showing up, keep being consistent, and watch how your life begins to change.